Parshas Beshalach opens with a scene of triumph. The Jewish people marched out of Egypt as a free nation, beginning their journey toward Eretz Yisrael. And yet, the Torah tells us that Hashem did not lead them by the shortest route. V'lo nacham Elokim derech Eretz Plishtim ki karovhu. God did not lead them by way of the land of the Plishtim because it was close. Rashi explains that this route was geographically close and therefore dangerous, since an immediate confrontation could cause the Jews to turn back to Egypt. The Eibishter therefore leads them by a longer, harder path. The Sfas Emes teaches that this is a lesson for all generations. Jews must return home to Eretz Yisrael not only when the road is short and pleasant, but even when it is long, difficult, and dangerous. Redemption is not defined by convenience. Still, the Torah's language is puzzling. Why does it say Vayihi b'shalach Paro es ha'am when Paro sent the people, rather than when Hashem led the people out? Why is Paro placed at the center of the moment of redemption? And what does ki karovhu mean? Who is close? What is close? For if it means that the way is close, it would have required for it to read in the feminine form, ki krovahi. Some say it refers to the Plishtim who were culturally connected to Egypt. The Yalkut Shimoni adds another dimension, karov, who refers to the lingering closeness created by the kindness shown by the Canaanim at the funeral of Yaakov Avinu, an appreciation that had not yet faded. Perhaps, though, one can say that ki karovhu relates to Paro, because Paro was near. When Vayihi b'shalach Paro, the people, despite all the miracles, still felt and said that Paro let them go, when, as the Mechilta states, Ein shiluach kan ela levaya, this was not merely a sending away, but a levaya, an escort. Paro accompanied the people, wished them well, and even asked for their blessing and prayers. Then redemption may have begun, but detachment had not yet been completed. The Eibishter saw that ki karovhu, Paro is still close, and therefore the Jews are still not ready for the receiving of the Torah. They are not ready for possessing a land with an independent government. Not for naught does the Midrash state that Vayehi means an outcry of pain, woe. Moshe cried out, woe, for he recognized that b'shalach Paro, that the people give the credit for their freeing to Paro. Moshe knew that it will still require a lot of time, with danger and travails to transform the people, and therefore he will not see the fulfillment of the promise in Eretz Yisrael. The Jews believed power comes from rulers and permission from governments. This is the Paro complex, the belief that redemption depends upon those who allow on agreements and external approval. And this is not ancient history. Even today, after all the miracles and victories in Eretz Yisrael, we still speak as though our future depends on what others grant us. We are not to be dependent on governments, not on the United Nations, and not even on our friendliest ally. Our claim rests on the promise of the Ribbono Shel Olam alone. The Torah then shifts focus and states, Vayikach Moshe es atzmos Yosef imo. Moshe took the bones of Yosef with him. Yosef had made the people swear, Va'alisem es atzmosai mizeh itchem. You shall bring up my bones from here with you. All ask, how could the Jews neglect their oath to Yosef, leaving it to Moshe alone? The Torah al-Torah answers with a question. Why is this verse written here in Beshalach rather than earlier in the Sedra of Bo, at the moment of departure, when it states, Vayisu v'nei Yisrael me'ramses Sukkosa? The Torah answers that the Jews did initially take Yosef's bones out of Egypt. They took it to Sukkos. They technically may have fulfilled the oath, but once they reached Sukkos, they withdrew and left the continued responsibility to Moshe. That is why the Torah attributes the act to Moshe. The Midrash, however, presents a harsher view. The Jews did nothing at all. They were consumed by the gold and silver of Egypt, while Moshe alone concerned himself with Yosef's bones. About Moshe, the verse in Mishlei states, Chacham lev yikach mitzvos. The wise of heart takes hold of mitzvos. Hashem tells Moshe, Yosef buried his father out of obligation. You had no obligation with respect to Yosef, as you are not his descendant, yet you acted. Therefore I myself will bury you. Vayigbar oso vagai. The question is asked, indeed, it was a commendable act by Moshe, with a fitting, generous reward. The act was an expression of righteousness and piety. However, where is wisdom found? Why is Moshe designated here as a Chacham Lev? My father, Zecher Tzaddik Levracha, answered, because Moshe understood when words would fail. To lecture a people intoxicated with wealth would be pointless. The avil svasayim yilavet. Empty speech exhausts itself. Leadership sometimes means knowing when not to speak. Vayikach Moshe es atzmos Yosef. He acted. Still, a deeper problem remains. If the Jews ignored an oath, would they not be chashid al shvuasa, considered unreliable, not credible? And if so, how could Hashem later at Har Sinai impose the obligations of the Torah upon them? Here, Rav Zev Wolf Tannenbaum Zatzal in his Rechovos Hanar resolves the difficulty. God forbid should one say that Klal Yisrael ignored an oath. They believed it was simply not yet the time. A long journey lay ahead. Wars awaited them. Later, after conquest, peace, and monarchy, they would fulfill Yosef's request with dignity. In their minds, the oath was deferred, not rejected. Moshe understood the prophetic tzavah, the will of Yosef. V'halisem es atzmosai itechem, together with you, not later, despite all the difficulties. Moshe also foresaw that the bones of Yosef will, at times, serve them well. Hayam ra'a vayanos, ma ra'a arono shel Yosef. The sea split when it saw the coffin of Yosef. Moshe then sang Shira, Az Yashir Moshe. Chazal say, Shar ba'az. He sang with the az, the now. The greatness of Moshe was always the az, immediacy, acting now and not later. These are not two teachings, but one. The Paro complex is the habit of waiting for permission, approval, and ideal conditions. Moshe is the Chacham Lev, the one who knows when action is demanded. He does not wait for comfort or consensus. He steps forward alone, carrying responsibility and risk. Paro represents dependence. Moshe represents courage rooted in faith. As long as Paro is still close, redemption is delayed. When the Chacham Lev acts with us, the sea responds. Redemption does not come when the road is short or the world agrees. It comes when we move forward anyway. Az Yashir. First comes action, immediacy, doing, and only then comes the song. Shabbat Shalom.